People are counting out Representative Ocasio Cortez, and man, are they wrong. They're still doing it. I need to hit everybody with this reality again. She's going to be a formidable candidate for president. Why would we doubt this? I'm Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz Today. The radio show has started. Let's begin. What a huge mistake to think you can count out Representative Ocasio Cortez. Oh, I'm not a fan. She's not bright. I'm fully aware that she's not bright. That part is completely inconsequential. She is going to be formidable because you do not have to be smart. You have to be able to connect. That is all. That is it in its totality. Nothing more, nothing less. If you're able to do that, if you're able to connect, you've got opportunities. You've got options. And it would be foolish for anyone, anywhere to think that somehow she's going to be out of the mix. Tony Katz Today. Good to be with you. Find everything I do over at TonyKatz.com. This was President Trump talking about watching the incompetent AOC and the incompetent Gavin Newsom at the Munich security conference. And yeah, I'm not going to disagree about the incompetent.
I watched AOC answering questions in Munich. This was not a good look for the United States. I watched Gavin Newsom answering questions in Munich, and this was a bad look for our country. These two people are incompetent. And at least Hillary's competent. She's just Trump deranged. She was so deranged. She is an angry woman. But I watched the other two speaking and answering basic questions. Look, Gavin has destroyed California. And AOC, I never heard her speak very much. And they started answering questions. She had no idea what was happening. She had no idea how to answer, very important questions concerning the world. But she can't answer questions concerning New York City either.
She can't answer anything anywhere. She's Towley. I have no idea what's going on. She has no clue. It's okay to call her stupid. It's fine. Now, I spent a lot of years saying, don't go after her personally. Always discuss policy. People wouldn't have to remember in the early years what she was wearing. It's like, what are you doing? What's that all about? It's not going to help. But we should be clear, she is not an intelligent person. And it was David Marcus, who I like quite a bit. The world needs more chain smokers. It was David Marcus who put out the piece, Democrats' Munich Meltdown Exposes Left's Intellectual Void. And his argument is that the left used to be the people of Noam Chomsky and Gore Vidal. Two people I find abhorrent, specifically Gore Vidal. But it can be said that they were indeed intellectuals. That I thought that they were indecent is insignificant to their ability to carry a tune. Now, do I think that William Buckley should have punched Gore Vidal in the mouth? Absolutely, I do. But one could argue that we are long past when we had Daniel Patrick Moynihan. These were people who were Democrats, but had a mind. There is no more mind to have. As a matter of fact, that's exactly the point. The mind is the problem. Thinking, engaging, explaining, verifying, proving, giving a basis for reason and rationality to a position is everything that today's leftist opposes. Absolutely everything. It is what they abhor. To explain one's position is to bring about questioning of the position you're explaining. And since the leftist has no will to explain, they have no will to prove their thesis. Rather, you adhere to it or you are excommunicated. That's their position. Their position is just do what you're told. That's the story. And so when you see people engage in this, they don't have any intellectual capacity. They don't have any intellectuals. Well, that's correct, which is weird because they're the ones who are all about the university set. But there's no intellectual at a university. You think these professors are intellectuals? They are all lemmings, all Marxists, and all of them purposeful to not engage in great thought or even asking for great thoughts to come their way. They put down, they mock, they ridicule the idea of great thoughts, of questioning, of debate. They don't want it, and they want to prevent you from being able to do so, because when you debate, it shows how they don't. The last thing in the world they want to do is put themselves on a campus like Charlie Kirk. They couldn't. It is agree with us or else. I will remind people again and again and again and again. The left's point of view can be summed up as do what we want or we will break things. This is their intellectual conversation of today. Get rid of ICE or we will break things. Get rid of Border Patrol or we will break things. Get rid of this or we will break things. We will destroy. We will set things on fire. Do what we want or we will break things. This is their entire argument. Do what we tell you or we'll call you a racist. Speak when we tell you to speak or we'll call you a bigot. We've seen this happen to small businesses across the country, including in my backyard. Do what you are told when you are told it, or we will tantrum, we will break things, we will hurt you. And then don't say anything until you're told what to say. Don't ask a question. Just do what you're told. And since we have turned politics into religion, and it's not just a system, right? A ways to get to a better life in society. It is how people treat their whole lives. It is their purpose and their raison d'etre that they will not go away from that, shy away from that for fear of being excommunicated, losing their friends, losing their, what I refer to as reputation capital. They can't do that. And how do you get more people to your side? Well, you indoctrinate early, you radicalize early, which is exactly what we've seen with the schools regarding ICE and a whole host of subjects, which is why we need to bust the teachers union in half and put an end to public education as it is, because it doesn't work. And I don't care if these teachers are out of a job or not. When teachers and administrators tell me it's good that students walk out and protest, if it's good they do this for ICE, why shouldn't they do this every day? They should have a protest every day. You don't need teachers. You don't need education. No. All you need is a daily protest. That's what the administration has told me. That's what the superintendents have told me. That's what the principals have told me. That's what the teachers have told me, and you, all of us. So what's the point of even caring or respecting a teacher? They don't respect themselves, which is really an awful thing to say because there are plenty of teachers who don't want any of this crap. They're trying to fight it just by doing their job. They're getting hosed repeatedly on the regulars. But this is all about Representative Ocasio Cortez. And it is a massive, massive mistake. There was a story, I think it was the New York Times, that, and again, it's the New York Times, so you take it with a grain of salt, that Representative Ocasio Cortez reached out and she was very, very unhappy with how she was portrayed in Munich. And here's the problem with this, and here's the problem with that, and here's what we need to be doing differently. I was looking for the story. I couldn't find it right now. There it is. After trip to Germany, AOC expresses frustrations. The Congresswoman argued in an interview that presidential speculation, which includes scrutiny of her slip-ups, had overshadowed her anti-authoritarian message at the Munich Security Conference. Weird thing for the person who quite literally is the authoritarian. And her message wasn't anti-authoritarian. It was pro-Marxist. This was some of what she had to say. Now, I don't know if you heard this or not, but I'll leave this with you. And you tell me, well, first we'll get to this one, which is her inability to answer a question regarding China and Taiwan. And remember, she is a member of Congress. Allegedly, she has been in her life briefed on these things.
Should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is of course a very longstanding policy of the United States. And I think what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point. And we want to make sure that we are moving in all of our economic research and our global positions to avoid any such confrontation and for that question to even arise.
Yeah, great, wonderful, terrific. But that wasn't the question. Well, we don't want the problem to occur. You didn't understand the question in of itself. What are you going to do? This is just one of the many, many stumbles that Representative Ocasio Cortez had. There were indeed quite a few, but I don't think any were as strong as this conversation about the idea of whiteness.
It's a very big difference between whiteness and national, like your actual culture, right? Whiteness is an imaginary thing. Being German is real. Being Italian is real. Being English. These are rich cultural heritages that are based on values, and they are so much a part of what make our cultures and our societies what they are.
Do with that what you will. When you say that she's stupid, I hear you. I think it's a fine thing to say. That's not my argument. My argument is if you think that somehow this is going to keep her from running for president, you are out of your mind. You're dumber than she is. It's not going to stop her. It's not going to stop the Democratic Party. Not for a second. By the way, some people are asking in the chat room, what was she trying to say? I don't know. Whiteness doesn't exist, but somehow it's diverse, and does it matter? All the Marxists just shook their head in agreement. They never question it. They just know that whiteness bad, and you're talking about whiteness, so that's good, and there it is. When you look at the whole world as oppressed and oppressor, and you never once ask a question, you just do what you're told. The boss lady just said whiteness, so it must be important what she said, and you approve. Don't you approve? Ooh, it would be better if you would comply. And that is the story. That is what the Democratic Party is banking on. If you don't think that she's going to be a candidate, if you don't think she's formidable, this thing with the New York Times, everyone's thinking me as a candidate and it's taking away from the message. No. It's not other people doing this to you. It wasn't racism and sexism that kept Kamala Harris from winning the election. It's that she was stupid and everybody saw it. She's dumb. Everyone saw it. And it doesn't matter how much Barack Obama screams and yells about racism and sexism. Who cares? America looked at her, listened to her, and said, that woman is dumb as a box of rocks. No thanks. AOC ain't bright. She is not dumb. And she is going to be much, much more capable. She's going to be a candidate. Dismiss her at your own peril. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back, Tony Katz Today. I'm guessing that it is allergies. That is my guess right there. Very, very weird. Because I'd had a cold. And I got over the cold. And then yesterday, the weather changed. I was like, it's nice out. And boom, my nose is just a mess. So first, like, well, maybe the cold is back. Took Dayquil. I'm like, it's not really affecting anything. And then, like, maybe it's allergies. So I took a Claritin. That's going to take a while to get in the system. So I don't know what else I'm supposed to take. I don't know what it is. I don't think I sound the same. Do I sound the same? All right. In my head, I don't. In my head, I do not sound the same at all. So with that, if I'm dabbing my nose, it is not drugs. I like to clarify that. See, it says that I'm live. See, and there it is. It's there. And then what do? Click the share button on the bottom right. Very, very weird. Oh my gosh. When did X change that? Very odd. It is Fat Tuesday. Get me some king cake. Find yourself a baby. I do like king cake. I haven't had one in a while. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. What are people giving up for Lent? Not celebrating Lent. I'm giving up nothing for Lent, but I'm always curious where people are at, what they're giving up. Producer Landon, are you somebody who celebrates or follows Lent? So no, that's a no for you. So just heathen. Okay, just making sure. I understand, making sure that's that. You had sent me a story about a church explosion. This is in upstate New York. This is the explosion occurred after a gas odor at about 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Listen, every when it comes to a church, everything needs to be investigated. I don't say no. I wholeheartedly agree that everything when it comes to a church needs to be investigated. But sometimes it's just, a bad thing can happen. Sometimes there is a gas leak. Sometimes there can be an emergency situation. So let's not think that that's not possible or that's not the case. But of course, one should look at these things. And there's been a lot of talk about Canadian church fires and church bombings. I mean, I can go back to stories from 2024. So this was, when was it? January of 2024. At least 33 Canadian churches burned to the ground since May of 2021. 24 of them confirmed arsons. But you're right. There's no attack on Christians going on in the world. No. Not happening in African nations. Not happening in Canada. No, it's just multiculturalism is good. You teach people to hate Christians day in and day out. What do you think is going to happen? What I need is for Christians to understand that they're the only line of defense we've got. I'll get into it. Yeah, you're going to rely on liberal Jews? Please. I couldn't rely on liberal Jews for a good piece of corned beef. You think I could rely on them for safety and security? Every day they hate me, and every day they go to bed thanking God I'm here. Because there's some of us who ain't giving up the fight so easily. We'll keep our eyes on that church fire there. I'm Tony Katz. Oh. Yeah, but I'm just in the studio. Now, I was away for the weekend, right? It was a quick trip, but I was in a hotel room. And that could have done it. And so next week, this coming weekend, I'm supposed to be away for an evening. We'll see. And then next week, I'm at the State of the Union. It's weird how this has worked out. So Tuesday, I head out, but the way the flights are, I'm going to miss both my morning show and the midday show. It's so dumb. So dumb. So dumb. But Wednesday, I'm trying to make sure I can do the show from DC because I want to share every bit of it because I'm going to be in the room. I'll be in the gallery, and it should be fascinating. Because the left is just going to be ridiculous. And is it allergies or is it cocaine? Well, I think that's a great question. Considering my name is not Charlie Sheen, I'm going to go with allergies. I'm going to go with allergies, if that's all right. It stinks. It's just the worst. Slow day in terms of comments and commentaries, and people are not, it's weird. Nobody's speaking. Very interesting. There it is. There's that. There's this. And then we have there we go. All right. Let's see what else we got. That's awesome. Excellent, Smithers. How's Centaur back? All right. Huh. Now I was able to create that broadcast. So we've been having this whole thing about how Twitter is not taking the live streams. It's like, why is it not? What is the problem? What is the issue? What's been happening? And I don't actually know. I don't know what has caused that. But I've now figured out 2 workarounds to this, and so now I'm curious how this is going to work and affect people. But I don't know why it stopped. I haven't gotten an answer to that. And I thought maybe it's like, okay, maybe they want you to pay for something, right? You got to have a more advanced version. I already do that, so I don't think that's it. But if anybody has an idea, let me know. 10,000%. Would love to know. All right, back to the show. You are aware of a shooting that took place in Rhode Island. This shooting in Rhode Island has 2 people dead, 3 people hospitalized, where the father of a high school senior opened fire at his son's hockey game. The hockey game, a well-attended event. It was the senior night game that was being played. A couple schools come together and do this. The father is shooting at his own family. Killed 2 family members. 3 people hospitalized, injuring others. The mother of the hockey player killed. The hockey player's sibling, I don't know if it was a brother or sister, also died. 2 other family members and a family friend were injured. You would think that that's the story, and the story is over from there. The story, of course, is that this is a man who thought he was a woman and dressed as a woman. And what's the argument I want to make here? Certainly didn't do anything else to make himself look like a woman. This was somebody very mentally disturbed. And those who have allowed the feeding into mental illness and supporting this gender dysphoria as if somehow it is normal and fine, and take this and do that and it'll make you happy and you'll feel better and you won't be so depressed and this is the real authentic you, all those people, not just wrong, but disgusting and violent people. I am not interested in their friendship. I'm not interested in their agreement or disagreement. If you feed into mental illness as opposed to helping those who are mentally ill, you are begging for a problem. And we have not yet begun to understand how long this goes on and how bad this gets. But this will not be the last, and it is going to get much, much worse. And this was condoned. This was approved. This was seen as valuable. It's gender affirming care. You freaking monsters who called it gender affirming care. There are many places in hell for you, including you doctors, you nurses, you hospital administrators, and most importantly, you universities with your med schools that push this kind of nonsense. Places in hell for all of you. I apologize for nothing. And still someone out there is going to say how gender affirming care is really important. Gender affirming care is a code for abuse. And if you allow it in your state, if you have an elected official who supports it, if you know anybody who is down with it, my God, those are people to stay away from. And I think those are people who should be told they're not allowed to be near children. Now, somewhere there's going to be another side of this coin, which is, hey, whoa, here's my child, and they did this, and they're just fine. You mean they haven't shot and killed anybody? Good. And I'm not saying they're going to. I am saying, without any hesitation, that you fed into a mental disorder. And don't ask me to cheer such a thing. I have spent now years on this show discussing the people who were just trying to keep a hold of their children, trying to navigate this with them, and went with the flow to try and get to a moment where maybe things would normalize. There are parents out there who have been in distress and in struggle with this. I don't know. I can't fully understand what they've been through. I would have no way of doing that. Except to say it seems to me that that could not have been easy. And still maybe not easy. People trying to hold on to their kids, I don't know what I'm supposed to say to them. I don't know what they've actually done wrong. The parents who have emboldened this idea, pushed their kids into this, happily gave their kids puberty blockers, happily said, well, I've got 3 children and they're all transgender. Those are child abusers. They're outing themselves. The only thing we haven't been able to do is connect their hand to the palm print that is somehow on their kid's face. We shouldn't support these people. We shouldn't appreciate these people. We shouldn't say that they're nice or kind. They're not. They're awful. And the buying into and the support of mental disorders is horrifying. And we have a lot now, a tremendous number of, what's the word I'm looking for? Shootings that involves somebody who's a part of this community. We go back to Nashville. Remember when the police wouldn't share with us information? Oh, there's a manifesto. Oh, you can't see it because it might affect this community. I don't really care about that community at all. They sure as hell don't care about me. They don't care about who gets hurt anywhere. It's all about them. I'm not interested. And I knew it was all about them, and so did you. When they said, you have to call me this pronoun. Yes, but that's a lie. I don't care. You have to say it. When they asked me to lie to them and really asked me to lie to myself, and they didn't care that I was lying to myself. They didn't care what that might do to me. That's when I decided that these people were not worth my time. There's nothing good or decent about them. And I don't give a good holy damn if they're angry. The lowest points in my life came when I lied to myself. I did it for years. I wasted time I wasted a decade of my life. Can't get it back. Wasted. I have 2 moments of my 20s where I'm like, that was a good thing to do. And one of them was getting married. I wasted years. Can't get it back. Can't live in the past either, guys. When I stopped lying to myself about everything, big things, little things, everything got better immediately. I'll never lie again. I won't do it. I won't lie to others. I won't lie to myself. I won't be any part of it. The answer is no. And these people came around and said, you have to lie to us and you have to lie to yourself. And I said, these people think they're in charge of my life and they can go to hell. Them and their liberal supporters, screw them. And we saw what they were doing. We said, this is disgusting. And they said, you're going to get children killed if you don't let us do this. They didn't make an argument about their position. If you don't let us, people will die. What did I say about the left? What is their position? Do what we tell you to do or else. That's their position on all things, everywhere, all the time. It is not a question. It is not a debate. This is who they are. This is what they do. This is what they say. This is how they act in everything. Chuck Schumer has decided that, you know what? It's not right that the gay pride flag was taken down at Stonewall. I'm going to move for legislation that puts the gay pride flag on the same status as the United States flag. Well, damn. That's something. The flag was taken down off the Stonewall National Monument. Now, if you know anything about Stonewall, Stonewall is really the place, Stonewall Inn, of gay rights in America. And there are people from that day, from those times, who really did fight for something. Agree, disagree if you choose, but they really did fight for something. And they fought for the ability to walk down the street holding someone's hand and not getting attacked for it. They did not fight so a 9-year-old can take puberty blockers and a 14-year-old girl can have her perfectly healthy breast removed and be mutilated by doctors. It's not what they fought for. It's not what they pushed for. It's not where they tried to make what they viewed as a better America for. And that whole trans movement has co-opted everything these people did. And this LGBTQ nonsense is a political movement, and thus the flag is a political flag. It has nothing to do with being gay. As a matter of fact, they don't value the LGBT part at all. They only value the T and the Q and the outward political expression. We have said on this show repeatedly, the L, the G, and the B should drop the T immediately. What the hell's wrong with you? What are you sticking around for? Are you afraid? What are you afraid of? Dear Lord, have enough respect for yourself. Recognize that what they're doing is obscene and wrong, is a political movement you want no part of. And because it's a political movement, no, we're not going to make the gay pride flag the same as the U.S. flag, which is really a part of another story, which is how the political left really doesn't like America at all. America is not so great. The gay pride flag is the same thing as the American flag. No, it's not. The gay pride flag is a symbol of a political arm of the Progressive Party. It's not the same as the American flag. Screw that. We all crazy? Of course it's a political arm of the Progressive Party of the Democrats. 10,000%. That's its job. That's its purpose. People may want to deny that. What does that matter? Liars lie. My gosh, these are the same exact people, the same people who will tell you that men are women, women are men, and somehow it's okay for a child to decide their gender. They're liars. They're frauds. Why would I listen to them? Why would anybody trust them? Why is Chuck Schumer doing this? Chuck Schumer is doing this because he wants to still be senator. And he doesn't want to lose a primary to Ocasio Cortez. So he takes this strong, bold position that will never amount to anything. And he shows how much he really cares about the gay and trans community. If the gay pride flag, which I've never been in favor of, we can have a whole conversation about the concept of pride, was really talking about Stonewall and this flag, I could at least understand the conversation. But even they have to admit that the flag has become this co-opted thing with all its stripes and this and that and other. It is the flag of a political movement, and one that I want to see no victory for. So no flags on government buildings or on government monuments. The end. You want to fly it at your house, do what you will. I'll keep flying the American flag because that's our flag. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Okay, it is. All right. I thought it wasn't. My mistake. Is this guy in his mom's basement? No, I'm in your mom's basement because that's where she likes it. There it is. Good. God almighty. That's our daily one troll burn. I'm Tony Katz. Good to be with you. Yes. Tip your waitress and your bartenders. Absolutely true. Okay, so that's going. That's actually happening right now. Weird. Super, super, super duper weird. Let's see. So it doesn't show up twice, just once. So why would I do it the other way? Huh. Guess I don't have to. Good enough. Oh, okay. So there it is. There it is. I will talk about this, and you will say to me, I am nuts. And I will say to you, maybe, but I want my piece of history. I want it. I'm going to go see if I can get it. I'll explain what I'm talking about in just a minute. "30 seconds, coming back, guys." Yeah, we're gonna potentially spend some money. It's gonna get weird. I think the odds are very low that we'll, because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get registered or not. I'm gonna try. I don't know what the rules are. This might all be out of my league, but we're gonna try. You may have heard of the Jim Irsay collection. Jim Irsay was the owner of the Indianapolis Colts, passed away last year. The daughters took over the team, and Jim Irsay had a collection. It wasn't just a collection; it was unbelievable, of instruments and documents. He was a music guy. We're talking about guitars of 100,000 to 2 million. Don McLean's acoustic guitar. Here's Elton John's eyeglasses. These are going for between $8,000 and $12,000. A Lou Reed stage played custom shop Fender, going for between $30,000 and $60,000. The family's not keeping the collection; they're selling everything, it seems. And some of these things are nuts. Now, it would be cool. Like, this is Bo Diddley's Gretsch box guitar. All right, maybe that. But this is Eddie Van Halen's, like the original, with all the tape. It's supposed to go for between $60,000 and $120,000. Okay. I don't know if I'm a guy going for the guitars. But there is one thing. This right here is the Red Shark. This is Hunter S. Thompson's 1973 Chevrolet Caprice Classic. It is expected to sell for an estimate between $100,000 and $150,000. And I am very serious. I don't know if the registration will go through. I still have time. I'm going to start that process in the next day or two. I don't know if it's something you get approved for or anything else. This is Christie's. They may have rules. I'm a radio host. I could see it not working. I don't even think I'm the biggest Hunter S. Thompson fan. It's just the idea of this. It's so irrational. Tony, you have a retirement to think about and everything else. But I told my wife this story, and she looked at me, and she didn't go, "Would you stop it?" She looked at me and said, "You're serious." Something about it. Yeah. Now, maybe it won't happen. I think the odds are small right now. But dear Lord, look at that bit of Americana, and how do you say no? How? This is Tony Katz today. I don't know how you say no. I do not know how you walk from this. And the best is it'll show you a picture of the glove compartment, and there's still cassettes in there. Those are Hunter S. Thompson sunglasses. And they're still in there. Oh. Good Lord. Wait a second. Hold on. You're missing what I'm saying. Hunter did own it. This was gifted to Hunter S. Thompson by two guys in porn. Come on. That is awesome. And that's why it's on my mind. If Hunter S. Thompson didn't own it, no. I might get it to get it, but I would never pay this kind of money. Hold on. No. Wait, it's too rich for my blood. But Steve is asking, who is Hunter S. Thompson? Fear and Loathing? Gonzo journalism? No, we're not doing this. We're not going to get into this. I love you too much. So I'm curious. I am interested. Not going to lie. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cool guitars and there's like Babe Ruth stuff and not my jam. And there's also, and I haven't seen it yet, some historical pieces. Like here's a script for Scarface. Like that's cool. Second draft script for The Godfather. The original Wonka golden ticket. Like that's super groovy. Charlie Bucket was weak. So full of candy. He was in a, right? It's so cool. The list goes on and on, but there's supposed to be some really unique artifacts, like historical artifacts that I haven't seen yet. The guitars and everything else, I mean, that's for somebody else. I mean, that'd be cool to have, like a cool Martin would be, great, but that's not for me. These are all guitars. That's a gas pump. Oh, it's a gas pump guitar display case. Okay. There's the Birds, Aerosmith stuff, a portrait of Jerry Garcia. A Soviet KGB spy belt. A Soviet KGB spy ashtray with hidden microphone bug. Wait a second. Wait a second. What? Are you kidding? Oh. All right, so maybe it won't be the car. That's groovy. That is absolutely groovy. All right. Radio shows and break. We're going to take a quick break here. Hang loose, smoke them if you got them, guys. And we will be back in a moment. There we go. Tony Katz today. Quick break. Good to see everybody back from the Twitters. Good to see people back. I don't know why it got weird, but it seems to be back now. Anyway, glad you're here. Can't thank you enough for being here. We're gonna get into midterms. Got some stories there to get into. Looking forward to that, and also once again explaining that no one knows what they're saying. They're kind of proud of not knowing what they're saying, and some of the polling is weird, right? Some of the polling is very, very awkward, but the people who think they have an understanding of where these midterms are, maybe it is just I who see this path, who see this way. This is all winnable if there's focus. Now it's Republicans, so who knows? Who knows? Anyway, I appreciate seeing you. I don't think people understand the Hunter S. Thompson thing. It belonged to Hunter S. Thompson. It's like George buying an Aries K car that belonged to John Voight. That's a Seinfeld reference. I mean, can we please? Oh, and as for the nose, I think it's allergies. I am not drugged up. Can we please? All I'm asking for is for Republicans to fight. Could you please, pretty please, act like you want to win? That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Just act like you want to win. Act like it matters. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. Find everything I do over at TonyKatz.com. I was on Newsmax yesterday, and when I was on Newsmax, we had a conversation about, I don't think it was supposed to be about winning, but rather it's what we're seeing with ICE and a whole host of subjects. And have Republicans somehow been unwilling? Are they unwilling to go about the very concept of winning? And you take a look at the Department of Homeland Security shutdown. How is it possible that we don't have Republicans saying that Democrats are going to get kids killed? Why don't we have this? If you are now going to have no funding for TSA, no funding for the Coast Guard, you're allowing fentanyl to get to the United States. Kids are going to get killed. Democrats are going to kill kids. How is this not like the easiest thing in the world to understand? How one plays this, how one does this. Why is it that so many have such large-scale problems with having this fight, with how to fight? Because that's the story. The story here is about how to fight. And it seems to me that the political right doesn't have too much of an interest in fighting. I don't know why this is. I've had some people say to me, I think I discussed this the other day, that maybe what's happening is the Republicans want to lose. Well, why in the world would they want to lose? Well, because it's easier to be in the minority party. You get to complain and caterwaul and bitch and moan, but you can't actually get anything done. It's like, oh, well, what are we going to do? Maybe we won some elections. It's easier. Well, that's some really frustrating stuff. That's some really frustrating stuff indeed. Now, I have been staring a lot at numbers. You know, I have this event coming up February 28th. Trump 1 year later. So it was supposed to be like this big gala. And what it's turned into is, here's how we win the midterms. Here's how it's going to work. Do you want to win? This is the path. This is the methodology. And don't let anybody tell you that it can't be done. I mean, I've got the data right here. It's not easy. I will concede that. Look, here are some of the numbers, right? Which party will win the Senate in 2026? Right now, the Republicans have a 60% chance. If you go back to September, their chances were 75%. So now it's 60%, 60 to 41. If you take a look at the House, the Democratic Party has widened the gap. And they now say it's an 83% chance that the Democrats will win the House. Now, traditionally, this is the case, of course. The party not in power is able to take back one or both houses. It didn't happen. Certainly in the House, it happens with almost regularity. In the Senate, not always. But there's a real opportunity here to keep both. And to look at that, let's take a look at this right here. This is just one poll. Interactive polls for 2026 generic congressional ballot. The difference between generic and knowing who's on the ballot is that when you know it creates different personal feelings that could change how you vote. But generic, 45% Democrat, 42% Republican, 12% not sure. It's a 3-point spread. That's a 3-point spread. That poll would tell me that everything is up for grabs. But maybe what I'm doing is I'm being too hopeful about it. This is over. This is lost. This is done. This is Harry Enton, CNN.
Yeah, I mean, Democrats in the minds of the American public are lower than the Dead Sea. What are we talking about here? Well, let's take a look. The net approval rating for Democrats in Congress, you said it, Kate Baldwin, the lowest ever. Look at this. Overall, they are 55 points underwater. Their approval rating is south of 20%. It's even worse when you look at independents. Look at this. Negative 61 points. That means that their approval rating is 61 points lower than their disapproval rating. Quinnipiac has been polling this question for the better part of the 21st century. They have never found Democrats, at least those in Congress, in worse shape than they are right now.
That is not good news. That's really ugly news for the Democrat Party. But I want to be clear. There's also a way this plays against Republicans. Again, Harry Enton.
Happy Washington's birthday observed today. That's what it is in the state of New York. I'm a New Yorker through and through. Let's take a look at another president, though. President Donald John Trump. Look at this. I got 4 numbers across for you on this screen here. They are all second-term lows for the given pollster. What are we talking about? AP North, 26 points below water. NBC, 22 points below water. Yahoo YouGov, 20 points below water. Quinnipiac, 19 points below water. So we're ranging from negative 19 points all the way to negative 26 points. You know, Kate, there's this question that folks keep asking, you know, where is the floor for Donald Trump? And I'm not sure there is a floor, because if there is one, Donald Trump, at least in term number 2, has just fallen through it to another low level.
Now, I want to say for the record that people are going to be like, Tony, it's CNN. You can't trust anything. Don't get me wrong. CNN can't be trusted. I think Harry Enton does a very good job with the numbers. And I look at this and I say, these numbers are NBC and Yahoo. I don't doubt that Trump is lower than he has been. I do question NBC and Yahoo. I also, because I have discussed it before and I've looked into this more than once in my life, I do believe that Donald Trump has a floor of support. I absolutely believe that's true. Now, one could argue that's when he runs for office versus when he's in office. But I don't look at these drops in net approval as connected to the subjects that will move people to vote. People will vote on the economy. And this used to be a nothing but economy election. This was going to be a standard midterm. Economy was going to be 90+% of what people are voting on. I don't think that's the case anymore. You want to argue that everything regarding ICE has played bad for the Republican Party, and this is just all embarrassing for them, and people are going to keep protesting about ICE, and that's going to lead to the Democrats' victory. Could lead to the Democrats' victory. It's why I have said that one of the things he has to do is keep going forward with ICE. He has to keep moving to remove illegal immigrants from the streets, because that is indeed what people voted for. This was part of my argument that I made on Newsmax on Monday when I was speaking with Carl Higbee on this subject. So this was me on Monday. Here, listen.
That's himself. All right, Tony, you have discussed a lot of these types of things on your show, sir.
Yeah, this is a conversation that comes up aggressively and constantly. My issue here is that you could talk about, okay, we'll get rid of this for Congress. You won't have that for Congress. Where are Republicans to say that Democrats, by shutting down the Department of Homeland Security, are killing American kids? Where are they to say that because we're shutting down DHS, Democrats favor fentanyl getting to your children on the playground?
Tony,
why is it that they won't fight the way that the political left fights? This is the moment. This is the time. There's a really weird thing happening where the Republicans have failed to learn the lessons of Trump, which I was under the impression that they had learned from the beginning, and they won't fight the way they need to make this issue a very pressure-filled one on the Democratic Party. But now you'll forgive me. I did not hear Carl trying to interrupt me. I would have stopped normally. I have no idea what the Republicans are doing right now when it comes to this shutdown. Where's the fight? Where's the push? Where is the punch in the face? Where is the everyday walking up to Hakeem Jeffries, walking up to Chuck Schumer and saying, you're going to get kids killed? Shame on you. The blood's on your hand, you animal. And then walk away. And then, of course, we're talking to Chuck Schumer saying, oh, by the way, you don't know how to make a cheeseburger. You make a cheeseburger like a sociopath. Walk away. Where are they? Where are they? And the answer is, I don't know. I don't know why it is they aren't fighting the way they need to fight. I don't know why it is they aren't pushing back aggressively. I do not know why it is they are not aggressively trying to control the narrative. I don't have the answer. What I can tell you is, when we discuss the very idea of fighting, because it should be asked, what does it mean? And it's something that I'm going to get into in great detail on February 28th. And I'm telling you right now, get your tickets. Tickets.tonykatz.com. the bourbon, the food, the live music. If the weather's nice, we're going to do cigars afterwards. We're just going to hang out. It's going to be amazing. It's red tie, right? So we started this as like this big gala. And it's like, all right, we're not in the mood for a gala. We're in the mood for work. But people are still going to dress up, and it's going to be fun. Cocktail attire is just fine, right? Just look good. Wear pants. That's all I can ask you for. It's going to be incredible. I've got bourbons. If you're a VIP, you're going to have 5 different bourbons to choose from. It's going to be amazing. Incredible. Tickets.tonykatz.com. Get your tickets. I think part of our problem is that we've never defined what fighting is actually all about. And it's not screaming and yelling, but it is about always confronting on every level and in every way the narrative. It must be confronted. It must be broken. And the people who push it must be mocked and ridiculed till there's nothing left. And you say to me, Tony, that's not civil. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's not, we don't even understand the definition of civility. Civility is when the majority does not tyrannize the minority. It's when the majority doesn't lock people up for having a dissenting or minority opinion. It's when the majority doesn't wholesale slaughter those who disagree. That's civility. You think I have to respond to people who push communism with some kind of fake civility, nonsense, garbage crap? No, I don't. I have to directly call it out as garbage, and I have to shame the people who dare push it. The Democratic Party has a shutdown anytime they want. And Republicans go on defense? No. You're shutting down the Coast Guard. The drugs are going to come and they're going to kill someone's kid and the blood will be on your hands, Chuck Schumer, you murderous bastard. Now, you don't like it. I don't like it. But I didn't make up the rules. All I want is to fight utilizing the rules that we have. These are them. You want to shut down TSA? You don't want TSA to be funded? Something happens with a plane. That's all on you, Hakeem Jeffries. All on you. Why aren't the Republicans fighting? Because if you want to win these midterms, you're going to have to. You have to talk about good things happening. You have to address the things that are happening that aren't great, honestly, and how you're working to make them better. And then when the Democrats are clearly at fault, you have to say so. They're not saying so. So I have a path to victory. And Republicans are smart. They'll be there on February 28th, and they'll listen, and they'll do what I tell them. Tickets.tonykatz.com. I hope to see you there. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. Sorry about that with the mic. There we go. Much better. So I'm absolutely going to put this as allergies. That's what I'm going with right now. By the way, I hear that, Stuart. I don't talk about being a Republican either. I'm a conservative. Just a difference. And also, you guys, I never wear a tie. Ever. I don't wear a tie on TV. Now, I'm going to the State of the Union. I will be wearing a tie. I will wear a tie at the State of the Union. And then afterwards, whoop, comes right off. Now, I'm curious of whether or not I'm going to be able to bring cigars. Like, I can have the cigars, but I don't think I can bring a lighter. I don't think I can bring a lighter. That's not going to get through security. So I don't know what I'm going to do there. Because after the State of the Union, my plan is to stand on the steps of the Capitol and be like, I love America. See if I can light one up. I don't know if you can. I do not know. I don't know if you're allowed to do that. I don't know what their rules are. All right. So we're coming back. We're coming back. That's excellent. You know, I think there was a fair amount of people who didn't do well at Munich when it comes to the security conference. I think one of those people is Hillary Clinton, who's now defending herself regarding Jeffrey Epstein.
Do you regret the links that there have been? You know, we have no links. We have a very clear record that we've been willing to talk about, which my husband has said. He took some rides on the airplane for his charitable work. I don't recall ever meeting him.
Did you ever meet Ghislaine Maxwell?
I did on a few occasions, and thousands of people go to the Clinton Global Initiative. So it to me is not something that is really at the heart of what this matter is about. They are accused, and in both cases were convicted of horrific crimes against girls and women. That should be the focus. And we
now, if the argument is that just because you were connected to Jeffrey Epstein doesn't mean that you're guilty of anything, I wholeheartedly agree. As a matter of fact, we've had that exact conversation right here, Hillary. But you don't do yourself any favors when you sound defensive. You don't do yourself any favors when you say, how dare you ask whether or not I met Ghislaine Maxwell? Don't talk about it like you're exasperated. Yes, I did. I don't remember every occasion, but these are occasions I do remember, because these were the circles and we didn't know what these people were doing, and what they did is horrific, and they should be in jail, and anybody who abused children should be in jail, and we're an open book. Here we are. We're an open book. Now, there's some photos of Bill. I think that requires more investigation. But don't act like somehow you're put out because questions are being asked. Let's go for a different set of questions here. I'm going to argue that Hillary Clinton didn't do anything wrong. When did you first hear the rumors of Jeffrey Epstein, and did you still engage with him, or your husband engage with him socially or through the foundation in any way? Did you hear the rumors of Jeffrey Epstein and the abuse of girls and still take his money for the Clinton Global Initiative, which was nothing more than a cash grab so people could buy access to you and your husband? I'm curious. I don't think you did that thing, but I don't know if it makes you totally innocent either, Hillary. This is Tony Katz today. All right. All right. So if you have allergies, what do you take to stop the nose blowing, the nose running? What do you take? Because holy hell. There's no way to do a radio show, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I've got 3 more things to get to. And so let me put that together. Got that. Got that. I've got this. And I've got this. All right. So I got a bunch of stuff. Groovy. Flonase. Okay. So I have some of that. I've got some of that. Oh, I know I'm on air. Dude, I knew I was on air when I was looking for that stuff. You guys get to see it all. You get to see it all. All right. But bee pollen, how is that going to help the runny nose? You're talking about honey. Yeah, that's it. The drying out is exactly what I want to do. That's exactly it. And for the record, I can't do Benadryl. No, I can't do Benadryl. That would be a much different show. Maybe Tony After Dark. I can do Benadryl. Does anybody else have allergies right now in the Midwest? Anybody else? It's just me? Because we're now at like 60-degree temperatures, so I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Stuff is unearthed. Well, that's right. Ghislaine Maxwell was at Chelsea's wedding. That's right. I think that's accurate. Huh. What do you know about that? Oh, yeah. When it comes to Hillary, never, ever, ever trust her. Because there's nothing there to trust at all. She is not trustworthy. Oh, I know you can have allergies all year round. But I never had allergies until I moved to Indiana. And they just hit a little bit differently now. I don't know why. It's not fun, as you can imagine. And I don't know, like some people take shots for them. Like there's these series of shots you can take. Do I want to be taking a series of shots? There's got to be a better way than that. Yeah, but a runny nose when you're doing a radio show and you're on video, come on, that sucks. I'm telling you right now, do not try and do a radio show and a live stream with allergies and a runny nose. I'm not going to lie. It's weird and gross. Tony Katz. Hope you don't mind the honesty. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. 3 more things. Stories that should be front page news, but might not be. I'll give you this one. This one is front page news. Jesse Jackson dead at the age of 84. And that's where I'm going to leave it. My mother taught me, as your mother may have taught you, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. I have 9 million things that I could say. I have watched people call this man an icon and call him great and call him a uniter and how important. They can say anything they want. Today, all I will say is Jesse Jackson is dead at the age of 84. Because that's all that needs to get said. Tomorrow, if you ask me, I will tell you everything I think, every piece of data I have regarding Jesse Jackson. Right now, dead at the age of 84. Robert Duvall passed away at the age of 95. The actor, there is only one Tom Hagen, ladies and gentlemen. There is only one. And Tom Hagen, and I should say Robert Duvall is Tom Hagen in The Godfather, the understated performance when he's trying to get what's his name out of the contract. You go visit this producer, make him an offer he can't refuse, and all that jazz. Knockout stuff. Then there is the Olympics and the controversy. And I'm not talking about the curlers, because I think that when you take a look at the Canadians, they did a double touch. Now, I'm not an expert at curling. What I know is that if curling was on television as a sport, people would watch. Because first you look at the people who are curlers, and every single person watching at home, while they're drinking a beer, is like, I could do that. Every single person. Then you take a look at how they engage some of the angles, and they're able to knock out the stones of other teams. You're like, that's awesome. And the whole room, like the whole rink or whatever you want to call it, like everybody's jazzed up. It's very cool. And I think it works beautifully for television because it allows for commercials and allows for sponsorship right there on the ice. I swear to you, I think people would watch. I think it's groovy. So when you let go of the stone, you let go. You could give it a spin, you could do whatever, but you let go. What the Canadians seemingly were doing, I think the men and the women, at least at once, maybe other times, letting it go and then utilizing their finger, kind of reaching out to maybe give it a little extra spin, a little extra zhuzh, a little extra positioning, something like that. And they got called out for it, the men did, and then you've got like the Canadian men screaming and cursing. It's crazy. Man, let me tell you something. What Donald Trump has done to these Canadians is just terrible. They used to be such a mild-mannered people. Then he put on tariffs, and look how angry and bitter and oh my gosh, and then they lose the World Series, and they're just not over it. Now they're cheating at curling. Next thing you know, their syrup comes from Vermont. It's a mess. The Canadians are a mess. But no, the scandal is about the ice dancers, Madison Chalk and Evan Bates. There was a rumor that they were going to file an appeal because in the judging, where they did they did very, very well, but the French judge scored the French team very high and scored the Americans very low, and so the Americans got a silver medal. And the American team is very, very unhappy. And so there was a thought that they were going to file an appeal of the score and say, seriously, this is nonsense, and you know it. The French beat out the Americans by 1.43 points. Now, sometimes you lose. But when you take a look at the scoring, the American judge did score the French lower than the American team. The French judge scored the American team much lower. And it just threw everything off. And I think it's very acceptable to say that there was fraud here. After all, this is the International Olympic Committee. These are the Olympics. The Olympic Committee makes FIFA look like Boy Scouts, which don't even look like Boy Scouts anymore, but neither here nor there. That's how corrupt the IOC is. So do I believe that this was shenanigans? Absolutely. Why not? Why not? And since this is an ice dancing team that isn't talking smack about America, I want to be supportive of them. Speaking of people not supporting America, Rosie O'Donnell was back in the United States, and I want to know what's going on with our border that she was able to get back in. I thought we were doing solid work in protecting the border and keeping Americans safe, and all of a sudden Rosie O'Donnell can just waltz back in like it's nothing? She left for Ireland. She left. She said, I don't need to be here. I don't need to be in this bigoted country. I'm going to go to Ireland and I'm going to live amongst the Irish people who want to recognize the terrorists of Hamas as a Palestinian state and abortions for everybody everywhere all the time. Honestly, Ireland is a mess. It is a really ugly mess. Turns out Rosie did not move back to the United States. So, thank you, Producer Landon. Thank you. Thank you. That's making everybody very happy. Very happy and overjoyed that is the case. She came back for a couple weeks. And this was the quote. She was on with Chris Cuomo. Chris Cuomo has a radio show. I know Chris Cuomo had a radio show. I know he's got the show on News Nation. And she said, I was recently home for 2 weeks. I did not tell anyone. I just went to see my family. I wanted to see how hard it would be for me to get in and out of the country. I wanted to feel what it felt like. I wanted to hold my children again, and I hadn't been home in over a year. Can I tell you how absolutely pathetic that sounds to me? You hate Trump so much, you left the country and you left your children who you just wanted to hold again? What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? What's it like to be so completely broken that you could, yes, I had to leave, but I miss my children so much and I could just hold them one more time? Am I supposed to look up to this? It's the sacrifice I have to make to stay away from Trump. He's just got me, so upset. Control yourself. I thought Barack Obama was terrible. I didn't move. I didn't leave the country. I left California for Indiana, but I didn't leave the country. Good Lord. That's another question, right? Did her kids come visit? Did they visit at all? Meanwhile, I thought the border was safe, but she can get in, so I guess not. And then there's this. A guy out of Seattle by the name of Joe Wallen. I don't know Joe. He writes something called the Startup Law Blog. I don't know anything about the dude at all. This was fascinating. He wants to take a look at the Seattle DoorDash law. What law is this? Well, it's something called pay up. In January of 2024, Seattle implemented the pay up ordinance. And what did this do? It guaranteed app-based delivery drivers, so Uber, DoorDash, Grubhub, etc., a minimum pay rate of $26.40 an hour before tips. Passed in 2022, went into effect January of 2024. You already know where I'm going. They passed a law that forced a minimum wage of $26.40 an hour. The amount of people who don't understand the minimum wage, the damage it does, how perverted it is. It isn't good. It isn't decent. You would be better off without the minimum wage. I oppose the minimum wage. I will debate it anywhere, anytime with anyone. Economist, not economist, the minimum wage is a horrifying thought of government intrusion and cannot provide a value. Here's what Seattle does, $26.40 an hour. What happens next? It's everything that you think would happen next. DoorDash added a $5 fee to every order. What happened next? Customers stopped ordering, and within 2 weeks, they had 30,000 fewer orders. Uber Eats volume dropped 30%. So the drivers, who were supposed to be helped with this minimum wage, saw their available deliveries cut in half, earnings per hour fall 25%. And the National Bureau of Economic Research showed that the higher per delivery pay completely offset by fewer deliveries and lower tips. Active drivers saw zero net gain in monthly earning. Government forcing payments doesn't make things better. It only increases prices. Remember that when they talk about rent control, which they will in New York. They know nothing about economics, and they're proud of themselves. Can't vote for these people. They're going to ruin everything. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. to do something about this. There's a run to a drugstore that's happening. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So what else do we got, everybody? What else do we know? There's that. And there's this. All right. Just seeing if I missed anything. Let's see if there's anything new going on. Oh my. Did you? Now, I've known that the Obama Center that they're building in Chicago, the Obama Presidential Center, I guess it's not a library for some reason, is an unmitigated disaster. And it looks ridiculous. And it's just this faceless monolith. It's nutty. Tony Katz today. It doesn't look good. Well, there is a speech that Obama gave in 2015, which marked the 50th anniversary of Bloody Sunday. We're talking about Selma, Alabama. Right? And that speech is written into the actual building. The letters are there. But the letters are not there on one side. It's where it meets a corner. So the speech is on two sides. So if you're coming at this building straight on from two different directions, all you see are some of the letters. And it's certifiable. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can show people this on the live stream. Look at this. I don't know if I can make it bigger. It's just these. It's part of a sentence in like 10 different sentences. You can't read this. And people are like, this is a dyslexic's worst nightmare, which is very funny. Oh my God. It looks like lattice work, but it's not. It's letters from this speech. You know, the words from the speech. The design of this. It's really, oh wow. And it's all gray and washed out. It's kind of like brutalist, and There's no, you don't feel warm and fuzzy going into it. You don't feel like you're entering something of grandeur. You feel like whatever the futuristic prison you ever imagined, right? This is it. This looks like a model that got rejected from the original Dune. Perfect. Oh, and Chicago hates it, which is also an added touch. This is Tony Katz today. I do not know who's going to go to that museum. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do there. There are some libraries that are very subdued. So here in Indianapolis, you've got the Benjamin Harrison site. Not necessarily a library, but some really beautiful grounds, beautifully done. I forget which town it is in Yorba Linda. You have the Nixon Library, which is really unassuming. The Nixon Library is a very unassuming place. Then you've got the Reagan Library in Simi Valley, which is spectacular. It's so absolutely fantastic. If you've never been, it is beautiful. And the grounds, and that's where Ronald and Nancy Reagan are buried. And they face out from this area, which is high on a hill in Simi Valley. You can see the Pacific. So they are placed so they can see the ocean. And it's gorgeous. It is so great. And there is an Air Force One hanging in this area where they do events. I've done many an event there, and you can walk through it. And then when you're sitting like for an event, for like a speech or, a gala or whatever, Air Force One is suspended above you. It's super cool. Oh, Reagan Library is incredible. Beautifully done. I don't know what to make of this. That is ugly. I'm going to go take something for the allergies. I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to get your tickets right now. Tickets.tonykatz.com. Make that happen. I want to see you on February 28th. The bourbon, the food, and you. And we're going to talk about how we win these midterms. And they're winnable. Just that easy. I'll talk about the Iranians tomorrow because their threats are just standard. It's what they do. It's what they do. I think Tom Cotton says they've never won a war, but they've never lost a negotiation. So who cares that they're squawking? Just that easy. Guys, I appreciate you. I will catch you tomorrow. Take care.